The origins of the precursors in Subnautica still remain largely a mystery to this day. It's assumed by many that the beings are nothing more than a long-lost civilization that used to rule the stars. After all, the word precursor itself means a person or thing that comes before another of the same kind. But wait, that's just it. If the precursors are the predecessors of something similar, then what is that similar thing? Well, based on everything we've seen in Subnautica this far, that something is most likely humans. After all, in-game we know from visions that precursors have similar colored vision to us, and on top of this, there are many ancient human weapons and artifacts and art we see inside of their structures. In fact, based on the small amount of precursor language we do see in-game, it seems to actually be heavily influenced by ancient Hindu texts. The fact that our PDA can translate some of their words with what seems to be no struggle at all also further backs up this idea even more. But if precursors actually are some sort of human beings, then how did they even get here? Well, this is where the theory gets really wild. What if planet 4546b is actually Earth itself, long after the nuclear winter that likely occurred as we discussed earlier on this list? Most of humanity would have left the planet in search of other star systems, and these humans would have become the ones we know and love today in Subnautica, being led by massive transgov organizations like Altera and the Mongolian independent states. What about the humans that stayed on Earth though, and the ones that weren't lucky enough to leave? Could these be the actual original humans from Earth, the precursors for humanity as we know it today? Potentially these humans could have evolved down a different path and become the precursors themselves, but that begs the question, how would humans on a post-apocalyptic Earth become so much more advanced than humans that were able to get away? Well, maybe it's because the precursors are actually those same Earth humans from the future. That would also explain how planet 4546b could be Earth, as over countless years another moon could have come into contact with the planet's orbit, and that could have caused sea levels to rise dramatically. Hence why the world of Subnautica is almost entirely covered in water. Potentially the precursors are nothing more than the original human race, far into the future, and they are trying to travel back in time to the original outbreak of the Kara to stop it. And as part of that mission, they are trying to send signals back to the other sect of humanity that originally left Earth in order to help stop the end of the universe as we know it. Maybe by taking the Altera PDA with us through the portal to the precursors at the end of Subnautica Below Zero, we are actually giving old humanity a way to find the more advanced new breed. If we take this all into account, that would mean that Subnautica is actually an intense and deep science fiction epic about a hyper-futuristic humanity that must travel back in time to alert another sect of humanity that has evolved in their own way about the biggest danger the galaxy has ever seen in an attempt to lead the human race to salvation. Or it's a game about cute little underwater fish. Don't ruin this for me. The Bacterium is the biggest threat we face in all of Subnautica, no questions asked. But what if this seemingly deadly virus was actually the hero of the entire story, and was our true salvation all along? You see, in ancient Greece, Kara was actually a popular girl's name, and also signified purity and righteousness. And on top of this, in ancient Puranic cultures, which went on to heavily influence modern Hindu culture, which is used a lot in Subnautica in different texts, there was a famous story of a young woman named Kara, who was a fierce fighter. Kara was betrayed by her friends and family who were hell-bent on setting the world on a path to burn and crumble. And in order to retaliate and save the purity of the world, she donned her bow and set forth against them, vanquishing them all along with an army of powerful giants. Could it be that the Bacterium in Subnautica is a reference to this? Because if it is, that would heavily imply that the Kara virus is actually a force for good against a world that is hell-bent on destroying itself. We already know too that Subnautica has lots of different themes of ecological disaster and the importance of caring for the environment. So what if the reason for this is because humanity far into the future, via the help of trans governments, is slowly bleeding the universe of its resources and killing it? Could it be that the Kara is actually a natural reaction from nature to fight back against these aggressors? Maybe the Kara and the trillions of lives it will take are actually the only way to save the galaxy in the long term. It's certainly a theme we've seen in a lot of other sci-fi as of late. Or maybe I'm just making up bullshit because we're at the end of Tier 4. Like and subscribe.